Hi guys, welcome to another video. In this video I'm hoping to start a bit of a new series where I'm looking to basically go over a certain armor type or weapon type, go all in detail with it, and hopefully go through every single sort of different item and tell you what's good, what's bad, why, when you would use it, and hopefully just give you sort of a reliable information source for that item. So today's one's going to be plate, is what we're starting with. I'm going to start with the plate helmets and work through these three, and hopefully give you examples of when you can use them, when you can't, why, and whatever different builds that they work well in. So the first things first, we've got the three base ones, which is Soldier, Knight and Guardian. We're going to start with the Soldier one. Every single plate helmet has the emergency heal. It's a free instant cast AoE heal around yourself in a very small radius for a little bit of health. It's almost never worth using, in fairness. It's just not very strong and it has such a long cooldown. You then have the energy regain that every single helmet has. Again, not really worth using, because unless you're out farming alone, I wouldn't use it, especially in PvP. So that leaves the Soldier only helmet, which is block. So you become immune to all enemy spells for 2 seconds, but you can keep moving. That's the really important part, is that, say as a tank, you've just engaged into their team, it's gone bad, they've crowd controlled you, they've done this, they've done that, whatever. You then pop this and run backwards towards your team. They can't crowd control you, they can't dot you up, they can't burst you. You're completely safe for 2 seconds and you can be healed. That's the other important part. So this is what I actually recommend for tanks. People underrate it. Even melee DPS that have to go in, things like a Claret Blade could run this quite easily. Go in, do your big AoE burst, block out, and you're safe. So it's definitely one that's to be thought about. It's only a 30-second cooldown with no energy cost, so definitely worth thinking about. And again, so I'm looking at the T4 ones actually. Let's have a look at the higher ones. So you get movement impairing effects. If you're running the Soldier helmet, I would never run Tenacity, just because, well, you've got that anyway. CC duration and incoming damage. If you have CC, if your job is to CC, run Authority, otherwise run Toughness. That's a pretty generic rule through all the plate helmets. So we're going to move on to the Knight helmet, which has the same two first abilities, and then displacement immunity. Increases crowd control resistance by 78 and makes targets immune to any displacement effects like pulls, knockbacks or fears. So it's like an AoE pre-cast immunity. It's okay. I think it's again underrated. With an organised group, if you were to stack up, you could pretty much pop this and you'd be pretty safe for 10 seconds from CCs, but it's only movement CCs, so it's only things like fears that actually move you, as opposed to like a slow or a stun. I haven't tested this with, so I know this works on Firewall. If you group up everyone, you can run over Firewall. I haven't tested this with Wind Wall, but theoretically you could use this to run through Wind Wall because it makes you immune to knockbacks. So theoretically you could use this in Hellgates to get through the Wind Walls, or Guild vs Guild. Again, makes it very underrated and something that can be picked up on really quickly. So if you're running that sort of thing, definitely give this a go. We've then got Guardian helmet, which gives Stone Skin. Stone Skin is that oh shit moment. It is the things are going bad, I need to just make sure I'm not dying. And again, so it does the same sort of job as block, it just lasts longer and is slightly less effective at it, with a longer cooldown as well. It's double the cooldown. So in fairness, Stone Skin's the one that people are really using. I actually prefer Soldier. It's just a personal choice. It means that when I was playing tank, I could jump in, Soldier out, jump in, Soldier out, and I was going backward and forward. It's just your own opinion, really. But yeah, that's that one. We've then got the Royal helmet, which is obviously the upgrade on the three base ones with the Royal sigils. Your Royal allies fire a burning barrel at a ground tight location. This is a telegraph, quite easily avoidable, but does stun for a relatively long time on a 40-second cooldown with no energy. So this is only ever really to be used if you have it in combination with another stun. So people run it with Heron Spear because you throw the stun in, you're guaranteed to keep them there for the rest of the stun, and then the support fire comes down, or the ballista comes down and hits them and restuns them. Obviously that does work with diminishing returns, but it still gives them like you can get like a 10-second stun on it quite easily, and that's really strong if you can catch someone for that long. Yeah, so it's a good helmet, slightly more expensive than the base 3 just because of the sigils needed, but yeah. You've then got the Graveguard and Demon, so these two are extremely hard to get your hands on. Graveguard's slightly less because it's only the tier 1 artifact, then you've got the Demon, which is the big one. Graveguard's almost pointless in my own opinion, but we'll go through the skill. Restores 20% of total health of an ally, reduces your own health by 15% of total health, can also be cast on yourself. So this can be cheesed, in that you can cast this on someone with Giant and it heals them for an absolute truckload. However, that is the only situation I would ever consider using this. Losing 15% health to heal for 20% on someone else just is almost never worth it, and doing it on yourself just to gain 5% health is pointless. Every minute you're better off running the emergency heal. There isn't a place for this helmet right now. Then you've got the Demon helmet. Your next normal attack will silence the enemy for 18 seconds. That's actually about 8 to 9 seconds typically in PvP, but oh my god, 9 second silence in PvP on 40-second cooldown? Yes please. You can reliably run a Demon helmet. Obviously they're hard to get because it's the Hell artifact, but if you can reliably get a Demon helmet and run with it, do it. They are so strong and so underrated. No one really uses them because they're very hard to get, but if you make your like A team with the best set they can run, make this in it, because it's just so strong. This is more likely to go on a DPS than a tank. The reason I say that is because tanks typically have things like Guardian for the stone skin or Soldier for the block. Demon's probably better on a melee DPS who can go in and target a healer or target someone and then silence the healer when it's close to a kill. But yeah, so that's all the plate helmets. So going back to that, my recommendations is the Soldier, the Knight with a coordinated group, the Royal if you have another CC to sort of combine it with, and Demon if you're running with that real baller like A team. We're moving on to chests then. So just to go over the generic things quickly, we'll do that starting with the Soldier armor. Every chest has mend wounds. Literally every single chest in the game has mend wounds. Again, only ever use mend wounds if you're soloing, and even so you should probably use the energy regen on the helmet, as the chest abilities tend to be like more important. You can run the energy regen and soup rather than running mend wounds. Secondly, every plate chest has taunt. Again, it's just a typical tank taunt. There's nothing special about it. Run it if you're the tank, basically. And then you get Fury. Once unleashed, you get a 10% damage bonus, a 10% crowd control bonus every time you take damage. Now, you can cheese this a couple of ways. So first of all, what do I think of this? I think it's good, but kind of pointless, because typically the only people going to be running a Soldier armor are tanks, and tanks don't need a 50% damage bonus. Like, tanks aren't there to be doing damage, they're there to make plays. The crowd control duration bonus is amazing, because typically tanks are engaging and doing crowd control. If you're getting an extra 50% duration bonus, that's pretty strong. That's only once it's stacked up. You can stand in telegraphs, like if they're putting an AoE down, you can actually standing them to try and trigger this. You can, whether you want to or not is another matter. I don't think this really has a place in the current meta, outside of maybe cheese groups that are going for really long CC chains, but again, it's the one sort of off combinations, it's not the every time. Going through the passives, we'll do it on this one. You've got 5% damage reduction, 10% CC duration, and 26 resistance to movement and parrying effects. Again, if you're running something like block helmet, or if you've got any sort of disengage or movement ability on your boots, never run tenacity, it's just pointless. And then it's between authority and toughness. If you're the engage for your team, authority is amazing, just that extra 10% CC can make a big difference. but again 5% damage can make a big difference, so either or, both are good. Okay, so I'm going to go over the knight. So the only thing that changes here is a wind wall. Obviously I love wind wall. Every single tank build that I've ever done or seen has had wind wall in it. It's just a complete disengage, but it can also be used as an offensive tool if played right. You can run into their team, wind wall half their team away, and then get the other half as position targets. It's the only real benefit to it. There's a couple of different ways to use it. It is a high energy cost and a high cooldown, and it does only last 4 seconds, and people are becoming quite inventive with either avoiding it or finding ways through it. So I think it shouldn't be in the meta as much as it is. There are other opportunities and other things that could potentially be better. Anyone you talk to will probably recommend wind wall chest. Doesn't mean you need it every time. I would still recommend running at least one in your group, but there's no need to be running like 2 or 3 as people have been doing in the past. So we'll move on to the Guardian Armour, the last of the base ones, and the only thing that changes here is the Enfeeble Aura. It creates a 7 meter aura around you that lasts for 5 seconds. All enemies will do 60% less damage and be slowed for 15 seconds. 15%, sorry. That's insane. This is actually very crazy and so underrated. So if you're running, just an example, Great Mace, you're jumping into a team, AoE silencing, you're doing everything you can to just hold that team together and keep them with your big engage. Enfeeble Aura then slows all of them and stops any return damage they can then do. That's crazy. It's on a 13-second cooldown. 30-second cooldown. It's an okay energy cost. It's a really underrated ability. This is something that I think needs to see more play in Hellgates and Guild vs Guild. We'll move on to the Royal then, which is the upgrade of the base armors. And the only thing that changes here is energy drain. 6 meter radius around energy draining aura surrounds you for 8 seconds. You steal 10 energy per second from each enemy inside the aura. So I believe this is steal as opposed to drain, which means you do get the energy. I haven't tested it though, but I believe that's the way that works. So 8 seconds with a minute cooldown is a bit meh. It's not great. But again, it works very similar to the Guardian Armour in that you can dive into their team. You've made a big engage, you've rooted everyone, you've silenced everyone, stick an energy drain on top of everyone and just start draining their energy. If they run out of energy, they can't heal, they can't DPS, they can't even re-engage on you because they have no engage on the tank. It's definitely one that doesn't see much play, and again it's one that could come into the meta quite easily. So we'll move on to the Graveguard Armour. Attach a chain to an enemy. After 3 seconds the enemy will be pulled to your position. However, if the enemy is more than 30 meters away from you, the chain will break and the enemy won't be pulled. So there are so many ways to cheese this, in that you can ice block it, you can assassin boots it, you can just run more than 30 meters away, so anyone running sprint is not going to get caught by this. And even if so, all you're going to do is pull them back to you. Like some people that I've seen, so I've seen this be run in a Hellgate, and I just stood on the tank and went okay, like I just stood and took it and then ran afterwards, and it wasn't a problem. Like I'm sure a coordinated group could make plays around it, but I don't think it's very good, to be honest. And then you've got the Demon Armour, obviously being the hardest one to get. While channeling, you and your allies in a 7 meter radius reflect 90% of incoming damage. Your resistances are decreased by 126, while your allies' resistances are increased by 126. This channel lasts up to 7 seconds and can't be interrupted by enemies. Pretty damn insane. Pretty insane. Got a high energy cost and is a channel but can't be interrupted, so that's good. And has a 40-second cooldown with 7-second uptime, so that's basically a quarter of the time you can have this going. That's pretty insane. Reflects 90% of the damage. That's a lot of damage you can be reflecting, and if your tank potentially, so I would potentially run this with the tank having something to go in, so potentially like, I don't know, Royal or some way to engage. So in fact Royal Chest is probably perfect, and then having this on an off tank or a secondary that basically just sits back and deals with their opening damage before they run out of energy, and they would reflect so much damage to themselves that the rest of your group would then be able to kill them off. That's potentially the way I'd play that, so having like a healer, 2 DPS, an off tank with this, the demon armor, and then a main tank with like royal armor. I think that could be a working team comp that would play around basically them just not having the energy to fight back and putting a lot of damage back. Again, I don't see this in Hellgates because demon armor is so hard to get hold of, but it's definitely something that works. Other than that, it's just the boots. So again, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to go through soldier boots first. I'm going to go through all the base abilities. You've got courier. You should only ever use this if you're gathering and not using gatherer's gear. No reason to otherwise. You've then got 2.5% incrementing damage, 5% CC duration, and increased resistance to movement and parry effects by 13. Again, these three are the same in the chest and the helmet, and it's the same logic as the chest and the helmet. If you're tanking, if you're going to be taking direct damage, toughness is probably the best. If you're going to be the playmaker, the person doing all the CC for your team, authority is probably best. It's really simple. So you've got Rejuvenating Sprint, which is what's on every plate boot, and that is 100% for 3 seconds and 39 health every second for 3 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. I love this. 100 heal every 30 seconds just and a sprint. Typically if I'm using a sprint it's because I want to get out of something. Having a heal with that works perfectly. I like this one, and that's on every plate boot. You've then got Wanderlust, which is the soldier only spell, which is every second your movement speed increases by 10%, stacks up to 8 times. So you can go 80% for 6 seconds. Yeah, so it stacks up once a second, so it's 80% for 6 seconds, and then obviously you get the rest of that time then for building up speed. So it's a good long run, and it can be worked, but obviously slows and stuff at the start of that's really going to hurt. It's not like the Rejuvenating Sprint where it's instantly 100% you get away. You see a slow at 10%, it's still going to be a major inconvenience. It's also got a minute cooldown, which is still quite long. You've then got Run, which is the base movement speed ability for every single boots in the game. Increases your movement speed by 6% for 10 seconds on a 30-second cooldown. So you can have this going 1/3 of the time before cooldown reduction or anything like that. And it's a 60% flat move speed increase. It's just, I think it's very underrated. I think more boots should be using this. It's good. But if you're running Run, then you use the boots that give you the right passive and the right stats. So if I was a clothy, I would potentially look at using like the cloth boots with this, and using the damage increase. If I was using, I don't know, leather Run, I wanted to get my corners back. If I wanted to get my corners back, I could run leather and use Run. Play whatever boots you want if you're going to use the Run, but I think they are good. It is good anyway. So again, we're going to move on to the next boots. Night boots. Wow, night boots. So night boots are probably the most popular boots in the meta right now. Just at all. Charge towards a target, ally or enemy. After the charge, you apply a shield on yourself and allies in close proximity, so I believe it's about 4 meters. The shield absorbs 847 damage and lasts for 4 seconds. The amount of times I see this charge just not be dropped on damage, like it's so much damage to do in 4 seconds. And you can put this on your whole team. It's just crazy. It's on a 30-second cooldown as well, so it's good for mobility, it's good for a shield, it's just good for everything really. Like you can even use it for engage if you really wanted to and put a shield just on yourself. Night boots are in the meta for a reason at the moment. They are that good. I think they're a little bit overrated because anyone with a brain will just stop DPS during the charge and fall back, but it's still a good boot for a reason. It's one that I recommend if you're running just basically anything. Guardian. Now, anyone who's been watching my videos for a little while knows that I've had 2 or 3 builds now with Guardian boots. I love Guardian boots. Giant. So let me explain it like this. So let's go through the skill. Grow to a giant for 8 seconds. So it lasts 8 seconds. During that time, your max and current hit points are temporarily doubled and your move speed is increased by 25%. So the move speed's kind of the cherry on the top. It's not the best. It could do with being a little bit higher. I think 35% might be there. I think 50 would be too much, but I think 35 might be a little bit better for it. But the health points. So if you have no healing coming in, the doubling your hit points is a 50% damage reduction on boots. just immediately 8 second 50% damage reduction, because it all works off percentages. So if they were doing 1% before, they'd have to do 2% to do the same amount of damage to you. That's how it works. So 50% damage reduction. Healing is less effective while in Giant, so if you're with a group that's trying to heal you, it is less effective, and none of the heals work on percentages, I don't think, like a percentage heal anyway. But yeah, so it's good, but you need to be wary when you're using it. Potentially the Rejuvenating Sprint is better for things like grouped PvP. I use Giant when I'm solo, Sprint when I'm group PvP, which is why I always run Guardian boots. So I'm going to go over Royal. Royal is this one. So march to a ground target destination. While marching, you stack up resistances. It's a bit of a weird one, to be honest. I've not seen a single person use them because you can be interrupted while marching, and if you get interrupted, you just stop your stacks where you are. If you get for the full duration, like, you get massive move speed and massive resistance bonuses, but people don't use them for a reason. They're so easy to interrupt. I personally wouldn't use them. We've then got the Graveguard boots. To use that one. Increase your move speed by 100% and armor and magic resist for 3 seconds. So again, very similar to things like the Rejuvenating Sprint. Same cooldown, same duration. Instead of healing you, it just increases your armor and magic resist. These are potentially actually better, just because I think that would reduce your increase your resistances enough to mitigate more than 100 healing. But obviously a lot harder to get these boots, so I potentially just stick with the other boots anyway. And then we have the Demon boots. Increase your move speed by 50% for 5 seconds while increasing your armor by 91 and crowd control resistance by 191 for you and allies around you in a 5 meter radius. This is just the group stomping one. So basically at the moment it just seems like Demon is really group focused and very strong actually. But again, not a lot of people run it. If you can run this, it's best to run it with a coordinated group. I wouldn't run this in a pug, but it's really, really strong against melee heavy teams. But yes, so that's all the plate, guys. I hope I've gone over basically where things can be used, what's good, what's bad at the moment. I'm going to be doing this for every single thing. So in the weapons, I'll go through, like for the sword one, I'm going to go through just all of the weapons. That's the bad one. I'll go through every single weapon, each skill, what build is probably best to use it in for different situations, and I'll go into every single thing. So I'm going to do this for every single combat tree. Just a couple of notes before I end the video. So there's going to be no stream on Monday. I leave at 6 o'clock to go to Insomnia 60. I'm actually going there to meet up with another streamer and talk. And obviously explore. It's something new for me and I'm really looking forward to it, but obviously that means that I won't be around. I may do a stream off my phone if I can figure out how to do it, which will be like a vlog type thing if you're interested in watching that. I have made some changes to my mic. So mic has been the recurring question on my channel so far, and I have made some changes. Please let me know in the comments below if it is any better. I really hope it is. If not, then I'm going to have to invest in hopefully trying to change it a little differently. The other thing is, so I've got a bad back in real life. I'm looking to try and go to things like the gym and start working on that. Would you guys be interested in things like an IRL video if I was to do maybe things like the gym, or just, I don't know, just random IRL videos? Like, there's times where I've just figured that it'd be quite funny to just upload something, but I don't want to be seen as that blogger guy. I'll leave it to you guys. If you're interested in seeing things like real life, it's probably likely to be things like gym videos, nutrition videos, things like that. Then let me know in the comments below. The other thing is, I play League of Legends as my secondary game. If you're interested in videos from that, I'm actually leveling up a new account that I'm going to do just like a Smurfing series, see how high I can get. If you're interested in videos for that, please let me know. I know League's obviously quite a contested video for things like viewership, so if it's something you're interested in, leave it in the comments below. Other than that, guys, like, subscribe, check out my Twitch channel. We've hit both the goals we were supposed to be hitting for like subs and followers for like the whole week in 2 days. Like, it's just nuts how quick we're growing. We are still growing so quickly. and I'm hoping to reapply for Twitch partnership in the coming weeks and see how we go. So other than that, guys, thank you for watching the video and catch you later.